Ladies and gentlemen, the last few years have seen a lot of new entrants to the flight simulation marketplace. This has, in part, been driven by the introduction and buzz around the latest iteration of Microsoft Flight Simulator, bringing flight simulation to a whole new audience. I mean, just look at the console Xbox space. Many entrants to that market are commercial companies, but we're also seeing a lot of freeware entrants, some of which are producing some very high quality output. FlyByWire is just one of these freeware entrants to this space, and their ethos, story, and future plans are very interesting and potentially disruptive for the Microsoft Flight Simulator market. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? Varun from FlyBy Simulations here, and welcome to something that's a little bit of a different show than what we usually do on this channel, which usually involves guides, tutorials, and Microsoft Flight Simulator news. Today, we are going to be talking about the future of freeware mods for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and specifically focus on the FlyByWire story, who have of course brought us the iconic A320 modification for the sim, and are also working on the hotly anticipated A380 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now, full disclosure, this video is heavily inspired by an article written on FS Elite by my good friend and colleague Craig, who attended FSWeekend and had an opportunity to talk to FlyByWire and really understand their mission, their company, their ethos, what they're made of, and what some of their future plans are. So yes, we will be talking about the A380 as well. We do have a little bit of news based on Craig's experience with the project. Of course, if you guys don't know, I also happen to work with FS Elite in a content creation capacity, simply because I would like to give back to the flight simulation community in the best way possible, and FS Elite has a heavy footprint in the news market in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so I help them out. If you guys want to check out some of my work, this is a recent video I did on the Hype Performance Group hot air balloon for them, so check it out, let me know what you guys think. It's a review video, but today we're going to be going through the article published by Craig and talking about it, creating some sort of discourse so that you guys can let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of FlyByWire as a team, and how you guys can enhance the flight simulation space yourselves. With that all said, let's get into the video. So who then, ladies and gentlemen, is FlyByWire? FlyByWire is actually not really a traditional organization. There is no boss, there is no leader, they're a collection of highly motivated and talented developers of all kinds united around a common cause and culture. Their values are about transparency, open source software, detail, accuracy, and to a large extent making the products they themselves wish to see in the Microsoft Flight Simulator space. A very respectable ethos, and of course we've already seen this with their A320NX project. The team itself came about through a common view of what the developers wanted to see in Microsoft Flight Simulator, specifically an A380, but also a decent rendition of the A320, as the default version was lacking, and boy was it lacking when it first came out. Now, this is not a diss on Asobo in any capacity. Of course, their plan was never to create highly detailed aircraft simulations themselves, but to actually provide the platform on which others could build and expand their ecosystem. Asobo wants to see this on their platform so much that they're ensuring it happens through establishing partnerships, which is another reason why I don't understand why so many people blame Asobo for not bringing us high fidelity, high quality aircraft in the sim. Asobo was only meant to create a platform that was good enough for these third-party developers, both freeware and payware of course, to bring us the quality of add-ons that we can come to expect from Microsoft Flight Simulator. So don't pass blame to Asobo. If you don't like Captain Sim, let's just blame Captain Sim. So then how did the others get involved? Well, FlyByWire doesn't have a recruitment process according to Craig. They don't interview or pay their developers. You're not going to have a job at FlyByWire if you join them, but that doesn't stop you from being part of the team. In fact, anyone can be part of their team. Sure, there is a core team of regular and highly active developers who manage their Discord, do all the updates and announcements, as well as develop the actual aircrafts and projects they're working on, but all code is actually technically available to anyone for modification and development within their GitHub depository. You simply pick a problem or a feature you want to personally incorporate and see in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and then you propose it, make it, and implement it into one of the versions of the projects that's being worked on. So does their approach actually work? The fly-by-wire approach has advantages and disadvantages. The main advantage is that their team is vast. Of course, since you don't have to pay all of these people, you can just invite anyone to come and work on your project. May they be modelers, coders, different people who work on the technical side of things, testing side of things. Your team can be absolutely vast, and you have a great repertoire of people that can actually vouch for the product before it releases. FlyByWire actually have over 100 active contributors to their projects, with around 40 regular contributors as part of their core group of members with more privileges. This means things happen fast, but it also allows developers with varied abilities to dip in and out, meaning outside of the core group, individual contributions range from small fixes to larger system enhancements that we have now come to expect from the A320 project. Does this matter though? FlyByWire isn't chasing profit margins or delivery dates. There are no defined expectations of output from their contributors. They simply contribute what they can, if they can, when they can, and importantly, if they want to. Looking at the positives, this takes the pressure off the developers and means when they're contributing, it is because they want to. Developers that have a clear passion for simulation will be the most active and are arguably more likely to strive for the ultimate fidelity or study level, as some people like to call it, that the community is looking for constantly. Now, this might sound a little chaotic, that there is no pay structure, there's nothing, but the results are technically speaking for themselves. FlyByWire has a great A320 that's constantly evolving and is very popular with simmers. It may be that the freedom with the approach they've taken allows for faster development, benefiting the community. So they do have a bit of a structure with those 40 people I mentioned having some privileges, so they might vet a system coming to the stable version of the A320 or not, but for the most part, anybody who's willing can actually enhance the product and it will see the light of day. One other note is that they're also completely transparent in how they spend their donations. Now, if you've donated $1 to them in the past or bought them a coffee or a pint of beer or something like that, and if you're curious, go to their website and click on Donate. The page that then comes up isn't simply a put in your donation here followed by a thank you message, but an open view of their actual finances. So you can view what they're spending on different projects, including hosting, what their balance is, what their estimated annual costs are, and they also show specific projects they're doing and the funding that's required to cover them. So it's very, very transparent, it's very, very community driven, and these are the kind of freeware projects and developers that we want to see more and more of in the flight simulation world. Let me know down in the comment section below, isn't this just amazing? Isn't this the kind of stuff that we want to see from Captain Sim, who's trying to sue people for putting liveries? I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous, and I usually don't express too many of my own opinions in these videos, but this is the kind of new content that I want to start doing on this channel, where I really want to create discussion and discourse around what I'm trying to say. So if you guys think that what FlyByWire is doing is right, leave it down in the comment section below. Would love to read your thoughts and reply to them and really start a discussion around it. Now, a lot of people do ask, but they've just built on something that exists. What about something truly new? It is true that they have essentially upgraded the default A320 within the simulation, but this isn't where they started. It may come as a surprise to a lot of you guys watching this video right now, and it definitely did to me when I read this article, that the A380X started development first. The A32NX, which is the A320 modification, is the byproduct of that development thread. How does this make any sense? Well, to develop an Airbus A380 within the simulation, there are many things that needed to be done. The physical model, the cockpit, the systems, displays, animations, everything basically had to be rewritten, started from the ground up, and all of this had to be created from scratch with nothing pre-existing to work with. The A32NX, or the A320 modification, on the other hand, was a different story. The scaffolding already existed in the form of the default aircraft, at least the external model, some base systems, some displays, and so on. Of course, the modifications they've now made to that default A320 are immense, and the enhanced version doesn't remind me of the default version in any capacity at this point. However, there was a little bit of a platform provided. They had a head start, and the learning acquired during the A32NX build in terms of systems, flight controls, displays, and so forth is all being fed into the A380X development thread. It's fair to say that as far as the A32NX goes, there isn't much left of the original scaffolding, as I said. The code base of the fly-by-wire A32NX, for the most part, barring a few exceptions, has totally replaced the base code for the default aircraft. With that all said, let's talk about the Super, let's talk about the A380, let's talk about the king of the skies, as some people like to call it. A failing king, considering production and everything is going to be stopping pretty soon. But Craig from FS Elite did get a chance to see the A380X live at FS Weekend, and here's what he had to say. He says that the FlyByWire team held nothing back. There was no smoke and mirrors. The development team was actually quite candid in saying at the moment, many of the systems he was seeing were A32NX systems they've ported over to get them started. They've been working on enhancing and replacing the A32NX components gradually with A380 specific systems and displays as they go, some of which that were shown were the engine display on the center panel and the MCDU displays. The visual model, however, was something else entirely. Now, Craig also goes on to say that the A380 modeling of the flight deck is honestly fantastic, and there is a reason for that. The modelers have worked extensively on the flight deck and spent many hundreds, if not thousands of hours, painstakingly creating the most accurate rendition they can. The developer primarily working on the modeling spent a good 20 to 30 minutes showing Craig some of the features, and the number of moving parts in the flight deck is crazy, and even the developer joked about how utterly unnecessary some of it was. When asked to the developers why they went to this length to animate some of these elements, the answer was because they wanted to, and that's the beauty of Freeware, that's the beauty of Fly-by-Wire. It's a full team who are dedicated to be able to bring the A380 not because of profits, not because of finances, not because of monetary incentives, but because they want to see that in the flight simulation world, which is very exciting to see. All that said, I don't know when the A380 is going to be gracing our simulators, but I would venture to say it is going to be coming in 2023, given the amount of work and, painstaking effort that has gone onto this project. At least a beta version. That's one of the best parts about an open source project. We don't have to have a full, complete product. An early iteration of the product will suffice, and people who want to use that version of the A380 can choose to, giving feedback to the developers as it gets enhanced, just like the A320 did. So then, let's talk about the future. Now, Fly-by-Wire didn't go on to make any definitive comments about the future because of their collective nature. They go where they want to as a group. If the modeler wants to get the coffee cup on the flight deck perfect, that's his prerogative. Or if you want certain things to work differently, the answer to that is to get involved. The other thing that Craig was curious about was donations and their view on this. Many didn't seem to be that worried about them as long as costs of operation were covered. They're looking for regular contributors with the needed skills to progress the aircraft development. So if you guys are one of them, if you guys are interested in coding and are interested in the world of aviation, aerospace, and most importantly flight simulation in this case, and can help these teams out in anything they're trying to do, your contributions will be valued and your contributions will be priceless in some capacity. I'm going to continue looking forward to anything that Fly-by-Wire continues to put out, and not just Fly-by-Wire. I have taken a liking to the Salty Simulations 747 mod, I've taken a liking to the Headwind 787 mod, even the A330 that's been developed by the Freeware team. I can't remember their name right now, but I think they're also called Headwind Simulations or something like that. But I love the products that are coming out, which are completely for free for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Sure, you don't have as many assurances as you do with a payware product. Sure, you don't have, sort of a guarantee for quality, and it's usually open source, but what you do get is an interactive, community-based project that you can actively give feedback on and can immerse yourself and involve yourself in, which is something that you never get with a payware team who, don't get me wrong, are still focused on bringing you a quality product, but are also looking at their finances, also juggling different aspects because this is work for them. That all being said, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this video, talking about the state of Fly-by-Wire as a freeware development. Let me know what your thoughts are on freeware development in general, as well as your thoughts about Fly-by-Wire and the A380 that they're hopefully going to be releasing in 2023. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to join the Flyby Simulations journey, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I keep saying this, it'll be lovely to have as many of you guys involved in these discussions as possible, so subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications icon to be involved in more such discussions, as well as be in the know-how of everything happening in the world of flight sim. With that said, thanks for watching and thanks for flying by.